Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a wonderful closing to the 2025 year and you're ready to lock in for 2026. I know I've been MIA, but I promise I've been locked in. If you know, you know, if you're in Discord, then you know how to tap in with me. But here we are, and we are going to dive into a few things that I have on my watch list, and we're going to cover the cues real quick so that you have an idea of what we're looking at going into tomorrow's trading session and potentially some moves for the rest of the week. If you're not already, please take a moment to review my channel. If you like what you see, go ahead and give us a subscription. Make sure to like and comment on this video if you find it helpful. I really do appreciate the engagement. I appreciate everyone that locked in for the year of 2025, but I'm looking to grow and help you grow in all of your goals for trading in the year of 2026. So let's get started. We are going to look at where we are on the cues, and we're also going to take a moment. Actually, we'll start there. We're going to look at the call out that was pushed out to Discord today, pre-market, right? So, um, here is what was shared with the group pre-market to give us an idea of what we're looking at for the cues. So we had some standards that we had to follow. One was going to be an entry pullback where we're holding 618, 618.50. Why does it say pullback? Is because pre-market, right before opening, we were at about 619 plus. So we had a bit of a gap up. And so if the conditions were met that we pull back and we hold support at 618, 1650, then we have confirmation of calls. We will always make sure to follow a stop loss. So we have the conditions of a stop loss that if price pulled back to 617.80, we were going to respect our rules and stop out of the trade. So let's take a look and see if we were able to get that bullish play, right? So at opening, this is the candle that opened us up. And as you can see, we opened at 619.30 and our pullback was all the way to 617.79. That means that if you immediately jumped into calls from opening, you would have pretty much got stopped out at the 16th. Um, well, you wouldn't have gotten stopped out because we didn't get a candle closing below. You would have had to deal with some of that heartache and pain of this pullback here. The term said to stop out, we had to get a 15-minute candle closing below our target. So a lot of people, and this is what I wanted to address, when we get the call out and we're saying things like a 15-minute candle closing, you need to see that candle actually close. And as you can see, all we received were wicks. So it did not validate the move right there to short QQQ. Unless you're an expert trader, there are a lot of people that can trade, including myself. This one 15-minute candle, one and done. We're moving on with our day if we want to. All right. So this 15-minute candle gave a pullback from 619.30 all the way to 616.72. That is a profitable one 15-minute candle. But if you're not disciplined enough to enter and exit, not overstaying your welcome, once you reach that below 617, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, that 617 80, which was part of our bearish plan, right? See, our bearish trade plan said that if we start to see wicks around 618, 619, it's starting to give us our clues. If we start to lose VWAP, that's clues. If we get a 15-minute candle closing below. So for me as a sniper, when I got that rejection, if I want to take this trade, I know that my real concern is going to be here at this 617.80 because this could be a potential zone to buy calls if we pull back and confirm that support. That's our stop. There's also an additional confirmation to get puts if we get a 15-minute candle closing below. Never happened, so you shouldn't have been shorting the QQQ unless you were riding this candle and disciplined enough to exit. All right, so that's one rule that I want to make sure that we are really understanding is when I say close, that candle, a 15-minute candle needs to start doing some stuff like this, closing that body below the target of that support that we had, which was 617.80. So again, that didn't happen. You let the pullback happen, and then you were able to get an entry somewhere, drop down to like your 5 minute, and let's see where we would have wanted to take entry on that pullback. All right, so boom, we get our pullback right here. We don't lose the 200. We start to reclaim the VWAP. We're well above the 12 EMA. So without losing your 12 EMA here in my chart, let's hide a few things just so you can see it a little bit more clear. All right, so never lost my 12 EMA, opened up with a cross that is signaling bullish, but we had red zone ahead, so we should have always been proceeding with caution. Even when you zoom out to the 1 hour, the wolf chart was telling us that even if we get these moves, to be cautious because we were hitting supply, right? So we basically just jumped back into this bearish order block, didn't push through to get to 622, 18 and basically closed there. All right, so just giving you an idea of how you need to trade these trade plans. You need to stick to the take profits that are provided in the trade plan. So let's say that you're one contract in, right? You're one contract in, and we can go to our call trade plan, right? Because we got that. You're one contract in, two contracts in. I don't know if you're in the money. I would recommend in these conditions for the queues right now, in the money. um, then you would have seen that, okay, we hit 620. I need to be raising my stop loss and pretty much satisfied to be ready to take profit because if we were getting in on the opening pullback and you get that nice bounce, once we start peaking around 620, look at the chop before we reject. I did trade the rejection here on the Qs, but what I want you to see is that you probably wanted to take profit because somewhere we were hitting an obstacle. So that's purpose of zooming out and seeing what's really happening on the higher time frames. Here's our obstacle. Here's what needs to happen. We need to hold the 200 on the 1 hour. All right, so say all that to say is that when you're looking at your entries, you need to make sure that you're sticking to the rules. You understand what it means for a candle to close, so that way you're not prematurely getting into puts or calls. All right. All right, so when we look at QQQ from the daily time frame, what we're seeing right here is that we have reached a 12 EMA. Obviously, the trend is still bullish, well above the 200. We haven't hit the 200. Ooh, let's see. On the 1 day, we haven't been back to our 200 since May of 2025 when we broke above it, didn't even come back and retest it. Obviously, we know that buying the dip in April produced this amazing, blissful move all the way to all-time highs. So here we are, we're at the 12. Some things that we need to pay attention to is that we are starting to weaken. We're getting weaker, weaken. We're getting weaker at the top. And so what we need to make sure is that we see true confirmations. I pretty much believe that unless we're starting to hold 621, 622, 623 zone, that range, we're just not making the move that I want. Now, if we start to hold 621 to conquering 622, 23, I do see that potential to get to that 628, 629, maybe even a squeeze at 630. That's just not happening yet. And we do have data this week. So with the cues, I'm going to proceed with cautions. I'm not really interested in any swings on the cues right now. Again, with data ahead, I'm just going to look at what it gives us so far each day. And what this is telling me is that we have not been clear. In fact, I really, really, really wanted to swing puts, but I am focused on some projects with QQQ, and so I have to stick to my rules. And the rule was I needed to close position, so I did. So what we'll look for is really a break of previous day low would be really nice. So if we get a break under 617.99, I'm sorry, 616.72, that's a nice break. I'll do a new trade plan in the Discord, but overall, QQQ is an inside candle from Friday's candle. As you can see, Friday was as high as 622.85 and as low as 610.15. I mean, it was a very profitable day for the Wolfpack if you were trading the Qs, and anyone else that followed my trade plan. So we will go ahead and, see what happens with the Qs. I will say my clue for tomorrow and the week will be whether or not we are holding that 200 on my 1 hour time frame. We're in a really narrow state. And so that just is giving me the idea that when we have the 12 EMA and the 200 weighted moving average all kind of squeezed in together, we're going to either do this or we're going to do this. So this is like a nice opportunity to see like what's going to happen next. It looks like post market we're at 617.39. So we'll see how we open tomorrow. I will have a fresh day trade plan for us going into pre-market. Right before the market opens, you'll have that trade plan. I think that's enough yapping on the cues. Obviously, you can see that we're in a make or break when you look at it from the 1 hour. And so we can do this or we can do that. And I will be cash ready for whichever one we get. Real quick, I'm going to run through a few charts that you should keep your eyes on. One being Bank of America. Bank of America, if you zoom out, is at all-time highs. So when we zoom in just a little bit, I can get rid of these old alerts. They serve no purpose. All right, so Bank of America all-time highs. What is getting my attention is that we just on the 1 day gave an additional confirmation by pulling back to my 12 EMA and then yet again bouncing off of it, which has been the pattern since we pulled back here. Is to break it, get close to it, test it, break out again. So we're getting that stairway step up to um, all-time highs on Bank of America. So we hit on today actually a new high of 57.55. Maybe we need to toss in the fib. And as you can see, if we just toss in auto fib from here, that if we can start breaking maybe this 57.21, then we still have some nice highs that we can go target in the 60s for Bank of America in the days to come. Bank of America in the days to come. Earnings is set for January 14th, so I did want to bring that to your attention because again, this does look like a nice earnings pump ahead of their January 14th post. So I will have them on my radar. I did do a look at Reddit, and we do have a breakout also on the 1 day on Reddit. A clean idea move would be for it to confirm holding above 242 and then to go ahead and make that move breaking somewhere above 246.15. As you can see, we have some open space. I have not done a top down. This is just something that I screened and wanted to bring to your attention. I will be doing a trade plan that will be posted in Discord for those that are locked in. Another one that is on my radar, there's no move that I have made. However, I am going to set some alerts and look at some potential setups with a trade plan. So Frisia, right now Frisia is at um, 1712, and as you can see, we have a nice potential gap up that we can go to around $19-20. I think once it hits this 1939 we'll definitely get a nice rocky reaction. So you don't want to overstay your welcome on this one yet. But what's very interesting is that it's definitely at some lows. And you just want to keep that on watch because they were, I mean, recently as high in September as $30. And their all-time high sits somewhere around, let's see. All-time high is 81.59. So I think that Frasia's one to keep on watch based on this complete pullback that they've had, reaching some of their lows, and we'll see if this support holds. I would say that looking at this candle, $16 is really what we want to see hold to confirm that we can retrace maybe to like 1920. From there, we'll just have to play how what's given, but it will get rocky once it gets to $20. So this is not something you want to just overstay your welcome. They do have earnings in April, so bring that to your attention because the trigger for me to start watching was that it was reaching some all-time lows. NVO is giving a break of structure on the 1 day. Keep that on your radar. We're looking to test at 200. And so already pre-market, they're close to $56. I would say that if things are going to hold on this one, you have a chance to get to maybe this $60 mark before you get some choppiness in this 61, 62 zone. So I have not pulled the plug on this one. Again, this is my evening scan that I'm bringing to you as well to watch. I will look to give more details in Discord if I find this to be more of a buy. One additional stock to look at is going to be Teleperformance, right? So Teleperformance, let's see, let me make sure I have this is Teleperformance. No, I'm going to close this one out. Need to make sure I have the right ticker for that one. It was looking interesting, but I don't know. I need to look at that one again. Okay, we're gonna do two more. Two more because you guys know I was popping it off on Tesla on Friday. So I'm really excited to see. I really made Tesla another one of my recent studies. And so the moves have been very predictable. It's amazing. Like everyone's like Tesla's so unpredictable. It really is at this because of what it can do with just any type of news. But if you're trading the technicals, it all kind of just makes sense. And so Tesla's been a great rinse and repeat on shorts, honestly. And there's still a chance that if we start to lose like 635.30 this low, we're likely to come down some more into the 620s and potentially even a little bit lower. I'm sorry, I'm saying six. Let's try that again. If we start to lose 435.30 and start to retrace, we can test somewhere around the 622, 621 zone and even lower around, I'm still saying six. It's the Qs. I don't know where I'm getting six from. All right, let's try that again. So if we start to pull back and retrace some of our lows from 435, then what we're looking at is a potential pullback somewhere around 422 and as low as 412. And they can even squeeze a little bit lower if you look at it. We've already chopped in this order block before. What's telling me we're bearish? Well, from the wolf chart, I have this arc that has formed. Also from the wolf chart, I've lost the 12 EMA with Tesla. And, there's just not any demand to pick this one up on higher time frames. We've cleared some very bullish order blocks recently before we did this pop. So I think this is a nice make or break opportunity on Tesla here. Again, we don't want to go back and lose the low of Friday. If you start to see us losing here at opening tomorrow, if you start to see Tesla looking weak, the 50-minute is usually a nice time frame to watch Tesla on, then I think that we're going to come potentially test Friday's low, but we just don't want to lose it. So if we start losing somewhere around 435.26 after already pulling back that low, then we're again going to probably have to come back and retrace some of this zone here. And see what we can find support. So I don't think the bearish scenario on Tesla is out of play yet. What I do think is you can watch the 4 hour because we are testing the 12 EMA and we are technically bullish above our 200 when we look at it from a higher time frame. What matters now is that we do not lose this 200 and we do reclaim this 12 EMA, and then you can see Tesla start to retrace back up. It is hot on my watch list. If you have a small account, you can look into TSLL for your trades, but just wanted to bring Tesla to your radar because I am seeing something interesting where we can get a make or break play on this one. I'm sorry for me going to 600 so many times. Maybe I want to see Tesla at 600, right? Like maybe that's the goal for this big dog. But in the meantime, we're just not there yet. So until we get the right proper confirmation, you just need to trade the trend and not overstay your welcomes um, on these plays right here. Last one I'm going to go over is USAR because I am getting a signal where we have buyers that have started to step in on USAR. And what we need to see happen next is that we start to really hold around 1650. And when we hold above 1650, what we need to watch for is that retrace around $18. You can do a top down to see if there's anything that you disagree on, but I do like the potential setup. I would like to see it reclaim this 200 on the 1 day, and try to do something like this, but this time actually break out further. Our real wall looks like it's going to be somewhere around the $20 range that we'll need to we lost it here. We broke it here, lost it on the retest, and so now if we can squeeze back up and retest, then we're looking at a nice potential setup. Um, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I do also have a few other stocks that I'm going to keep for now in my back pocket, and I do have alerts that I'll be setting on those as well. What I do want to say is I really, again, appreciate everyone that logged in with me on last year, and I hope to bring you very clean, nice setups. I hope to do more learning videos this year and lives. I do enjoy the lives as well. So, if you found this video helpful in any way, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to engage. If the channel seems like something you're interested in, do go ahead and give me a subscription. I really appreciate it. And in the meantime, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week. I will potentially pop in again, maybe Wednesday. Yeah, I may pop in Wednesday to see how everyone's doing and see if anything has changed in what I'm watching. Again, none of this is financial advice. These are all things that I'm watching and wanted to bring and share with the community. Have a wonderful day. Bye.